Another popular, albeit more complicated, method of land preservation is through transfer of development rights, also known as TDRs. Like the conservation easement program that we discussed previously, an easement is purchased on a property which extinguishes its development rights. The difference is that a private developer, rather than a government agency, purchases the easement. In exchange for doing so, the developer is able to build at a higher bonus density in a designated growth area as shown in the image. To understand the TDR concept, consider the following scenario. This is what typically can be seen across Delaware below the Chesapeake and Delaware Canal. You have an existing town and a surrounding growth area, highlighted here in purple. This is where infrastructure like water and sewer service already exists, and where most public services like schools, libraries, police, and fire stations are located. This is surrounded by rural farmland, shown here in green. In this example, you have two farms for sale, one inside the planned growth area and the other in rural preservation area. Under conventional suburban zoning, both farms would likely be developed into low-density residential subdivisions on lots ranging in size from a half-acre to 1 acre. To accommodate the needs of the hundreds of new residents on Subdivision B to the south, the State Transportation Department is forced to widen the road and add turn lanes to accommodate the significant increase in traffic. The local school district is forced to allocate additional buses to serve the residents in the far-flung subdivisions. As more subdivisions like these are built in the rural outskirts, new schools, fire stations, and parks will need to be built and maintained, and if septic systems begin to fail, or the watershed becomes threatened, water and sewer services will likewise be extended. This scenario represents suburban sprawl at its absolute worst. With a TDR program in place, the developer of Farm A in the growth area is able to build at a higher density and potentially earn a greater profit. However, in order to build at the higher density, the developer must first purchase those additional development rights from a willing landowner in the preservation area. In this case, the development rights are purchased from Farm B in the rural preservation area, which reimburses the landowner for loss of their development potential and places a perpetual conservation easement on their land. With the extinguishing of the development rights on Farm B and the increased density achieved on Farm A, public infrastructure and services are efficiently concentrated within the municipal growth area. In 1998 and 1999, the Delaware General Assembly amended the Zoning Enabling Act, allowing counties and municipalities to adopt and implement a transfer of development rights program of their own. One of the more celebrated and successful examples in Delaware occurred as part of the Westown project in Middletown. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Middletown, Delaware was growing very rapidly as part of the real estate development boom. In this period, most of the development activity was occurring to the west and north of the existing downtown, in the municipal boundaries highlighted here in orange. In addition, there was a proposed golf course community south of Middletown and outside of the municipal boundary that was approved by Newcastle County, also highlighted here in orange. Likewise, there were a number of agricultural preservation districts and easements that have been approved or purchased through the Delaware Agricultural Lands Preservation Foundation. These properties are highlighted here in green. In the early 2000s, 3 farmers just outside of the existing municipal boundaries and immediately west of the town expressed their desire to develop their properties. These farms were initially envisioned as part of the surrounding green belt of protected properties in the 1997 Middletown Comprehensive Plan. However, rather than see these properties develop at low suburban densities, the town decided to annex these parcels and conduct a master plan. Partnering with state agencies, the town conducted an intense community visioning exercise to create a development plan for the Westown receiving area, highlighted here in red. Correspondingly, the plan designated a series of agricultural sending areas to be protected through the transfer of development rights from the said sending areas in blue to the receiving areas in red. While the project is still ongoing, so far, the development that has occurred in the receiving area has resulted in the protection of 2 farms in the receiving area totaling more than 500 acres. In addition, more than 200 acres of farmland has been set aside for a spray irrigation facility and a community park. One of the most successful TDR programs in the country, and certainly among the most relevant to the Delaware experience, is in Chesterfield Township, New Jersey. Located along the New Jersey Turnpike, just 30 miles east of Philadelphia and 10 miles south of Trenton, this sleepy rural township has experienced significant growth pressures in the past 3 decades. Despite the growth pressures, the township remained committed to the preservation of its rural and agricultural character. In 1975, the first TDR program was created to help achieve this goal, but like so many programs, it failed to generate any transfers. However, in 1998, the township adopted yet another TDR program and partnered with Burlington County to help ensure its success. To channel and direct growth in a manner in keeping with the historic fabric of the community, the township identified 560 acres near the New Jersey Turnpike as its receiving area. Partnering with numerous government agencies and citizen stakeholder groups, the township completed a detailed master plan for the receiving area. By meticulously calculating the number of development rights available from the surrounding agricultural sending areas, the township was able to assign the appropriate number of TDRs and scale of development for the receiving area. The master planning process allowed for the incorporation of architectural design standards to ensure that the new development mimicked that of the existing community. The overall site design of the Old York Village, pictured here, closely resembles a traditional small town and features many pedestrian features, active open space amenities, a village commercial center, and an elementary school. As of 2009, the township has facilitated the transfer of 755 development credits, protecting 2,742 acres of farmland. It is expected upon the eventual build-out of the Old York Village to protect 7,412 acres. Combined with the farmland acreage already preserved through the state's Purchase of Development Rights program, nearly 100% of the remaining farmland in Chesterfield Township will be preserved forever. Rick Preetz, one of the leading experts in the field of land preservation, and particularly TDRs, has emphasized a series of success factors to creating and implementing a successful TDR program. First, the respective governing body must ensure that there is an adequate demand for bonus density and development. This means that infrastructure like water and sewer service must be made available for developers to achieve a higher density. Second, the government should not fall into the trap of giving away too much density to developers for free without requiring them to purchase TDRs. Next, the governing body must customize or right-size its receiving areas for each community. Because TDRs are a market-driven tool, the government must ensure that the receiving area will produce a pattern of development envisioned in the local comprehensive plan and consistent with the character of the surrounding community. Because TDRs are a market-driven tool, farmers in the sending area must have an incentive to sell their development rights to a developer in the receiving area. In practice, the governing body should downzone or reduce the development potential in the rural sending areas to give landowners the incentive to sell their development rights. One of the most common mistakes governments make is that they allow a developer to upzone or rezone a property in the receiving area to a higher density without requiring them to purchase TDRs. In particular, a government should pay special attention to how they allow and incorporate floating zones like planned urban development and traditional neighborhood development into the receiving area. Finally, governing bodies should strive that developers are given the maximum degree of certainty and predictability possible to ensure that developers have a strong incentive to purchase additional development rights.